You're listening to the To Stay, To Leave, To Know podcast, where I cover the most common questions running through your mind as you're considering whether to stay married and try again or part ways. I'm your host, Anna, an empowerment and mindset coach for ambitious women like you who are in a dilemma and considering divorce or separation from your long term partner. I'm here to help you filter through all of the thoughts you're having, whether and how you can save your marriage. This podcast is here to provide commentary and nuance on the most common experiences that are making you consider divorce as an option, to help you discern from the online noise and advice and bring depth to the conversations. Because when I was in the same confusing and dark space, I felt so isolated and alone. For nearly 4 years, I was stuck in indecision, confused by everyone else's differing opinions, with no one to turn to guide me through it, and feeling the weight and the gravity of such decision on my own future, the future of my son, and everyone else around us. Once I started talking, I realized I was really not alone. So many other women were going through very similar challenges, in silence, isolated, often out of shame or lack of trust in others. I'm here to put a stop to it and to finally provide guidance for this period I call the void. I'm here to bring clarity and be a guiding light as you're feeling torn between honoring what your heart desires and what the society expects you to do. So let's get going. When you're both good parents, but quote unquote bad as a couple. And I don't think this topic is talked about enough. This is one of those situations where uh, it's a most common dynamic that happens when you've been married for quite a while, for over a decade or two. And a lot of marriages function on this dynamic. I think it's one of the reasons a lot of marriages last for a long time is because a lot of the times the focus is primarily on the kids, not as a couple. And you get lost in this kind of void. You kind of get lost in this time of taking care of kids, especially when they're little, and doing everything that is needed for the kids. And you both focus on being the parents, fulfilling the role of the parents, but the function of the couple is not happening anymore. So you go on holidays together, and in the busyness of the life and everyday day-to-day stuff, you lose sight of each other. You do the homework with kids, the cooking, work and business commitments, birthday celebrations, visiting friends, going abroad, visiting family. And before you know it, 10 years have passed. The kids are growing up, things are moving. And then you find yourself, you forget why you got together, what made you fall in love with each other. You sit at the table and looking at each other. You know each other, but at the end of the day, you also don't know each other. As the years go by, you grow, but you don't grow together. You kind of grow in separate ways. One of the things that I see a lot in the self-development world with highly ambitious women is that women grow at an exponentially higher, faster rate than their husbands. And what happens is that when you look back, when you got together, you were a completely different person. The way you thought about yourself, the way you had a vision for your life, the perception of how your relationship should be was a completely different version than it is now. The center of attention, the focus of everything was your partner and your family. And then you go through this self development world, you do your inner work, you unpack a lot of conditioning, uh, you work on your confidence, and then you start centering yourself and your happiness and your fulfillment. And then in those moments, it can be really, really hard for your partner to reconcile, to really adjust to this new person, to new you, with the fact that you are no longer putting everyone else. at the forefront but yourself and your fulfillment and what you want out of life. And they have very, very difficult time to adjust to this new dynamic, especially in those situations where centering your partner and family and your self-sacrifice were the basis of why the relationship worked. Because when you think about it, and this was certainly something that was uh, what happened to me. I was a people pleaser. I prioritized everyone else, um, my husband, my child, and I was a woman that centered men. I knew that my life revolved around getting married and fulfilling that purpose of getting married, being a mother, and being a good wife. And then as I grew, as I did my inner work, as I um, kind of got to expanded my worldviews, I decentered men. I decentered the family or the usual conditioning of what I should be doing with my life, and centered myself, my own fulfillment, my own career, what I wanted for myself, my ideas of what I wanted to achieve out of my life. My purpose got bigger, my standards got higher, my whole identity shifted. And when that happened with that, my relationship started crumbling because my relationship relied on my self abandonment, my sacrifice, me denying myself what I wanted out of my life, me denying myself um, living out that purpose, and that the relationship could not survive because it relied on me abandoning myself. And it is in those situations that I see that it becomes really, really hard to overcome that growth, that the gap between two of you. And this is one of the things that happens to a lot of women that I see in the personal development industry, to a lot of coaches. As the years go by, you grow, but you don't grow together. You on one side and your partner on the other side. You grow separately. You've changed. You both changed. You both change by the experiences at work. You change and gets changed by your social circle, who you surround yourself, the new people that you meet. You get changed by your personal growth and your self development. And then you consolidate those experiences on your own, not together as a couple. These experiences affect the way you think, they affect your belief systems, they affect the way you see life, they affect how you look at your future, they affect your priorities, and they change you. And then you do not consolidate those experiences together as a couple, you consolidate it on your own. And what happens, one of the main reasons why you grow apart, evolve apart, evolve on, on each own as individuals, not as a couple, is because there are not enough touch points between two of you. There are not enough touch points for consolidation. There are not enough touch points where you process the experiences that you have gone through, where you talk through, where you figure out in which way your partner is evolving and changing and growing, and how they how it shapes their perspective. And then you find yourself a decade or two later looking at each other as if you're strangers. You don't know each other that well because there are not enough intimate moments, intimate conversations between two of you where you discuss those experiences and make sure that you're on the same track. You forget to go out on dates. You forget to schedule out time where it's just the two of you. Or maybe because of the business and because of the family responsibilities, you don't even have time. You give priorities because children come first. Your family comes first. The business comes first. because you think, oh, this is the important time of our kids' lives. Right now, we have to be there for them. You make time for your friends individually. You go out with your girls and he goes out with his boys, but there's not enough touch points where you two actually get together and reconnect and reevaluate whether you're still on the same pathway. It is in those moments where, in these gaps, when they happen, they cannot be bridged because all of the inner work that you have done is so deep that a lot those belief systems that you held when you got together are not the same as they are right now. Those belief systems affect the way you see yourself, they affect your confidence, they affect your role in the marriage because uh, it has not only shifted the way you see yourself and confidence, but also the role in your marriage. What role do you fulfill in that union? And if your partner cannot accept that, then the marriage will not survive unless you go back to sacrificing, abandoning yourself, and not honoring what you want. That's the only way it can function. Because if your partner does not get on board with this new you, if they cannot accept this new you, if they cannot accept their new role in the partnership, the only way it can work if it's you that goes back to the way you were before, if you go back to abandoning what you want from your life, uh, self-sacrificing, and if you give up on your wishes and desires. So does that mean that there is no way forward for you to go together? I really don't think so. I think it really depends on you two as a couple, whether you are both willing to do what it takes to reignite that spark, whether there are enough touch points between two of you that are in common, whether you still share the same values, whether your priorities uh, for you as a couple are similar or same, whether your goals for the future look similar, and whether you want to put in the effort from your partner, whether they can consolidate and whether they can accept you as this new person and accept that your new identity, whether they can accept the changing roles within the relationship, and whether you want to put in the effort or time and wait for them to adjust to that new dynamic, to adjust to your new identity. I can't tell you what to do with your partner. It is you who will know best. You will know best how much time do you want to give them to get on board. You will know best how much effort you're willing to put in it. Do you feel like your partner has been supportive throughout the years and now they're having a bit of a challenge getting on board? Are you willing to wait for them to kind of catch up? And here's the thing, one of the mistakes that I see women who are doing self-development and, the coaches, the healers, all of that, they kind of put this condition, I need you to do this. And they kind of give their husbands, give their partners a task that they need to do. You need to start studying, not studying, but you need to get on board. You need to change yourself, blah, blah, blah. This is kind of like putting a condition on someone uh, in order for your relationship to continue. And it can create a lot of resistance within your partner because they will say, oh, I don't want to change. It can create the resistance and defensiveness from them. Why do you want me to change? Why am I not good enough for you? But if you position it from a perspective, this is what I need from my partner. Are you willing to do what it takes to be that partner and give them the space for them to take charge of that? That is much more level conversation and creates a lot less resistance and defensiveness from their side. Now, you leave the space for them, whether they want to get on board and whether um, they're willing to work on themselves, whether they're willing to go to therapy or coaching to examine w- which part they need to contribute to the future of their relationship. They need to decide for themselves whether they're willing to put the effort into that relationship to keep it. That's where you give them the choice, and it is up to them to choose whether they want to put in the effort or not. It is not up to you to give them uh, an ultimatum or tell them what you need from them, because you can't tell someone what to do. But in this way, you honor what you need out of this stage of in your life. This is what I need right now. This is what kind of partner I'm looking for. Can you match that energy? And leaving it up to them to do what they need to do and their part. And if they're willing to do so, and you are willing to wait and give them the realistic time to take steps and take action and to show you that they really mean it, that's when you'll make it work. That's when you bridge that gap. That's when you find a way moving forward. You have that conversation. You put in the effort to see whether you still share the same goals, whether your perception of relationship and how it should go is still the same, whether you're still on board. And I would urge you to have that uncomfortable conversation because it is important. Because you might assume that they don't feel like you, but maybe they're also noticing the same. You might be thinking you're doing them a favor. So, in conclusion, I can't tell you what to do with your partner. I cannot tell you in which situation, specific situation, you should go or stay. But if it were me, and if I was in that situation, I would initiate the heart to heart conversation with openness, with recognition that we've grown apart, and acknowledge that I noticed that we have grown apart, that we haven't had time as a couple, that we have evolved, and express that I wish to work on it. I would express what I want out of my life. I would express what I see a life for myself and ask them if they're still on board. Ask them if they want to still work on it. And I will leave you with that. Let this message settle within you, process it, allow it to get absorbed. And if you find yourself that you still have questions, if you find yourself that there are still moments where certain things are not clear, if you find yourself that there are more circumstances that you need to consider and you want my help to help you figure out how to move forward, you can apply for a 15-minute conversation with me. Get in touch with me and let's take it forward. With love, Anna.